Well, Rob, after 2 very good weeks in Europe, it's back to the grind of the Premiership, and a big performance I'd imagine you want from the boys after Bristol.
Yeah, well, we've kind of got something out of our system now, I'd like to think, which is probably that half an eye on Europe situation that I feel we were in the early part of the Premiership. I'm not making any excuses for what happened, but it kind of does feel like the second half of the Bristol game was a little bit like a team starting to put one eye on the next 2 weeks. I think our performances in the Heineken Cup have probably shown that a little bit, in that they were so much better than how we played in the Premiership. But the reality is now we've got to leave those 2 games behind pretty quickly. There's a lot more for us to still go on and achieve in the Premiership, and a lot of that gets built around your home performances. You know, we've got Wasps coming here. They beat us the last time they came here in the Premiership, albeit I think it was the week after we definitely qualified for the top 2. And I think we drew breath a bit that day. If we draw breath this weekend, we'll probably see a similar kind of situation. So we've talked a lot about the importance of our attitude going into the game. That really we need to make sure it's a reflection of how we played the last 2 weeks, and not a reflection of how we played in the Premiership previously. And it feels like the lads are in a good place. But it's midweek, there's still a couple of days to go, but we've still got time to really get our emotional batteries charged up. We've talked a lot about that this week. We'll talk about it again on the team run on Friday, and hopefully we'll put out a performance on the field that we can really be proud of in the Premiership as well as we have done in Europe.
When we talk post-game after the weekend, even though you've lost to Bristol, when you reflect on it, you're 4th in the table, only 4 points off the lead, you're in a semi-final of a cup. You're doing well in Europe. It's not been a bad start, even though.
No, in every way round. You know, when you talk about being competitive in every competition and you tick your way through, you know, we've got a home semi-final in the Premiership Cup. We've, like I said, you say we're 4 points off the lead in the Premiership. We've just got a bonus point win in the first round of the Shield. We've got this. Let's say we're top of our pool. You know, if we can bang a win in this weekend, we've got a chance of going into Christmas in the top 4, potentially pushing for even higher. So there's a lot of good things and a lot of positives for us to aim for, but that's what it should be about. We should be fighting to have positive things out of every game we play. It's very important for us this weekend. You know, I can't reiterate enough to what we've said to the players about how important today is and how important it is to shift our focus away from the Heineken Cup and now into this Premiership game. And we can shift back in the Heineken Cup mode next week. We've got to kind of do it now. You know, top 4s don't get gained in the last 3-4 weeks of the season. They get gained now. We want to make sure that's right at the forefront of our mind.
Obviously, Wasps, we know from past experience, tough opponents. They hang about, don't they? They're always in and about there.
Yeah, because they're a good side with quality players. So you never fully put them away. But having said that, so are we. You know, we're at home. We do have a good record here, and we've got to expect. You know, we've got to expect that. You know, we can put in a level of performance and create a level of intensity that really challenges Wasps. But that takes a group of players laying out on the field, and that's why so much of what we've done this week has been about, you know, as I say, getting our attitude right, getting our approach to the game correct, getting the guys on the field who are really desperate to play and desperate wanting a point to prove, and we've got to make sure that all culminates in a decent performance. You know, if Wasps come here and play outstandingly well and beat us, that's fine. I haven't got any problems with teams coming here and winning, but I do have problems when we beat ourselves. That's always a bit of an issue. I think probably against Bristol we beat ourselves as much as they beat us, and we've got to make sure that scenario doesn't rise again.
And when you look across the squad now, real competition, but you're seeing the strength across all the forms, aren't you? You know, you're getting people wanting to play every week.
Yeah, that's right, and we're starting to thicken out a little bit, particularly the back five of the scrum, where we've been kind of waiting on Will Whitty and Tom Price. They've started to, you know, obviously Tom's back on the field now in the Prem Cup, Prem Shield, sorry. Will Whitty's not far off. He's out there running around training now. You know, we're starting to thicken out a little bit. You know, we're challenging some other positions. But, you know, people know our issues around the front row, but kind of as we do with one challenge, you know, you move on to the next one, and that's what we've got to do now. We just got to embrace, enjoy playing games of rugby. You know, one thing you can easily forget is that rugby is about players playing games of rugby every weekend, and half of them are in front of your home crowd, and they pay their money, they're season ticket holders here, and they want us to come and perform well, and that's what we've got to make sure we do.
You talk about front row, we've had operations on Jack Inard and on Tommy Francis. Jack Yendall picks up a serious injury last week. What's the latest on all of those?
Yeah, well, obviously Francis is probably in some ways the worst, but now he's on the operation, we're on the recovery process, so he's going to be 12 to 14 weeks. Jack Inard's operation, although similar, was a little bit simpler. You know, maybe 10, 12 weeks with him. Jack Yendall, he's in a cast now with a broken forearm. They can be a little complex to really work out when they start to heal, because they're just not bones that heal that quickly. He hasn't had to have a plate in, which ironically means his return to play might be a little bit later. So I think we've got to be talking about 10 to 12 weeks with Jack at this stage. But obviously, all of these lads, things can accelerate or go backwards as you get to the end stage of the rehab. You know, it's a challenge for us at the minute, but you know, I've always said before, you know, you get challenged in one position and someone will come through. You know, we've got guys who we signed like Jordan Poole, who played, you know, very well in the Premiership Shield game. You know, he'll probably get an opportunity in the next few weeks, and it's a great, fantastic opportunity for him to kind of prove that he's a Premiership quality player. So these things happen, and you move on.
Finally, from me, talking to the boys, they were pretty upset about the Bristol performance, and they kind of feel that they owe the crowd one now. Is that the kind of message you'll say to them a little bit?
I'd like to think that, and as we actually mentioned that earlier in the week, you know, the last Premiership memories that our crowd have got is kind of not doing very much for 40 minutes. And I would like to think that burns a little bit, and I'd like to think that they want to set the record straight and perform for a big 80 minutes. If we do that, we're a very good side. We give ourselves a great opportunity to win the game, and that's really all we can focus on.